Hey, what's up, guys? Today we're going to be talking about Jigen's abilities and my theory on it. So without further more ado, let's get into this. So some of you may know that Jigen's name literally translates to dimension in Japanese and compassion eye of Buddha, right? And Kara translates to from, and when you put them together, it's from dimension, or you could also mean from the compassionate eye of Buddha. So what does this mean? A sample of Jigen's abilities are displayed in chapter 24, where Jigen and Delta are casually having a convo while eating. Then she gets angered as it keeps going, and that's when tables turn, literally. So when that happens, we saw Jigen a little before that sipping a glass of wine while they were talking, and that's when Delta, of course, flipped the table. Jigen brings his hand out and does what appears to be like some sort of time reverting slash curating jutsu that completely recreated everything in front of him, including that drink that he drank not too long ago. Could this be the karma cell he has on his chin? Or could it be something else like a dojutsu or both? We don't necessarily know what his karma cell can do. In order to get a karma cell, you have to kill Utsutsuki to get one, and we don't know what that Utsutsuki's abilities were. So possibly that Utsutsuki's ability was something of like Hagoromo's creation of all things jutsu, an OP Sage of 6 Paths jutsu that we only seen Utsutsuki do. Jigen might have a variation of this jutsu, but in a weaker version because his body isn't quite like in the Utsutsuki's body. He's most likely not on Hagoromo's level, because if you look at chapter 26, Kawaki says that Naruto might be stronger than Jigen, which indicates a feeling of how powerful Jigen is. He's probably lies around Naruto's level going off this quote, or Kawaki might not have seen his full power and might be stronger than Naruto. So this is telling us that Jigen is at Sage of 6 Paths level, just like Naruto, which I'm thinking that Naruto could fight him far in the future. So now I want to talk about his eyes. Jigen's eyes are very mysterious, just like Delta's is. We don't know whether or not his eyes are dojutsu or not, because if we look at them, they're very dilated, looking kind of like a Bakugan is. There are differences, like the Bakugan is gray versus his eyes are mostly black. He may have done that time reverting slash recreation jutsu with his eyes possibly while he was lifting up his arms. Sort of like when we saw the Diva Path aka Pain lift up his arms and said almighty push. But wait, there's one problem here. He didn't say anything like recreation jutsu or something like that. He kind of just did it right off the bat while calming Delta down in the process. So could this mean he's like Hashirama, where he didn't have to weave hand signs and basically just did it? Since Jigen is on God level, it's a possibility that he doesn't have to weave hand signs at all, because it seems like he did it telepathically. Now, to get his name and what it can mean to try to help us understand his abilities a little bit more. So it is a possibility that his name meaning dimension means that his ability has to do with another dimension, or it is implying that his eyes can manipulate time and revert inanimate objects from a couple moments ago. And another thing I want to point out is when they're in that dimension talking in chapter 16, it appears they're being projected, not actually there physically. So does his eyes have the property of projecting himself into others when they're talking in that dimension in chapter 16? So now I want to talk about his eyes and how it links to Kawaki. The other translation for his name is Passionate Eye of Buddha, in which the Eye of Passion by Nichnat Han says, I probably just butchered that. We know how to embrace suffering. We see immediately that the other person suffers too. You understand him or her. We see the other person with the eye of compassion. The eye of compassion exists within us. We see that the other person is a victim of his own suffering. He or she makes others suffer, and when we see that, we have no more anger. Let's listen to each other, let us be there for each other. This is applied Buddhism. When we talked about in the past, he seemed to have lots of compassion for him. In chapter 24 to 26, he basically was telling little Kawaki that he won't be empty anymore. It will become his father and give him a specially valuable gift. He could have used his Eye of Compassion, aka some sort of genjutsu, from his potential dojutsu on Kawaki back then, which would have explained why Kawaki had that dream in chapter 26. He's trying to manipulate him to his desires, because to me, Jigen seems like a very manipulative person, which can be a part of his dojutsu. Now this is all my theories on Jigen. I want to know what you guys' thoughts and opinions are in the comments. It's been your boy Dio Balboa, and I'm out.